Vintage TV Episode 7, and we have a special guest today. We are here with Julie Pedroncelli St. John from Pedroncelli Vineyards.
Yes.
What a great treat to have you here.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure. I'm happy to always tell the story of the family business. We've been in the wine business since 1927, when my grandfather purchased a piece of property that was 25 acres of Zinfandel vineyard, a defunct winery, a home, and some additional land, and all in the middle of Prohibition. And it's amazing because he couldn't make wine, but he could sell the grapes, because at that time you could sell the fruit to individual home winemakers, and they'd make the wine and keep us in business just by selling our grapes off. And of course, the great story, part of the story is a few years later Prohibition ended, and then as a family we went into the business. But I always like to say I'm glad my grandfather picked a spot in Dry Creek Valley, northwest corner of Sonoma County, rather than, I don't know, another area of the United States, or maybe even Bakersfield, California. So it's really nice because 83 years later, what I love to do is tell the family story of being there, 3 generations going into the 4th generation, and just talking about what my grandfather did, what my father and uncle as the 2nd generation owners do, and then what we do as a family as part of the 3rd generation.
Paul from Sierra Wine and Spirits was telling me a story about a glass.
Oh, right. And my grandfather, yeah. My grandfather, we like to say at the winery that my grandfather was the first tasting room host in the entire valley. What he did as we built the business from the 30s to the 40s and onward is basically we would, it was all in barrels. It was all sold, either a store picked up a barrel of wine and brought it to their store, and then people would come in and tap the barrel, or they came and visited my grandfather, who, if you're at the winery, he wanted you to have a glass of wine. So if you're there to buy wine, he always had a glass to share.
One of the wines that I really like is the Friends Red. Could you just tell us a little bit maybe about that?
Oh, well, there's a great little story behind that. Well, as you know, my grandfather would invite friends into the cellar, and years later, so we were trying to develop a red blend. We decided to honor his memory. Because he invited friends into the cellar, we thought, okay, the blend should be called Friends Red. And basically, as a tip of the hat to my grandfather, to his legacy of inviting friends into the cellar, we feel this bottle of wine should be the reason you invite friends over and have them in as well, just to kind of continue that. And it's a blend of estate fruit, so we keep it close because it's, of course, as you were saying, 100% of ours, yes. And it just is different in each vintage, just a proprietary blend. Again, all in honor of my grandfather and his ability to make friends wherever he went. Okay. Invite people up, and word of mouth grew, and we developed a nice following of people. In fact, today, people come up to me, I remember when my mom and dad drove me up to Pedroncelli, and we got to walk through the cellar with your grandfather, and, again, just, it's nice to be able to carry on that family tradition.
So you started out with 25 acres, and where has that progressed to now?
Well, over the years, we picked up some pieces of property around the valley, and so now we have a total of 105 acres of vineyard that we farm, a total of 180 acres of land with 105 acres planted to varietals that do well at the north end of Dry Creek Valley, which tends to be the warmer area. We have one white wine varietal, Sauvignon Blanc, and then we have Zinfandel. We now have a total of 30 acres of Zinfandel on the estate. Cabernet Sauvignon comes in right after that, and some Merlot, Sangiovese. We even have some Portuguese varietals planted to make our dessert wine.
One of the things that I really like is when a winery also has their own vineyards, and they are in 100% control. And that's why I just think that those wineries produce better wines. One of the things is they're in 100% control, and you kind of have no excuses. This is it. So
yeah. Well, you're on the line. First of all, this is what you have. But that is nice. the kind of the progression went from my grandfather to my Uncle John, who's the winemaker, but he also takes care of the vineyards. And then now, third generation wise, my brother-in-law, Lance, is our vineyard manager. And he learned, as my uncle learned everything from his father, my brother-in-law, Lance, learned everything from my Uncle John. And it's true. We are in 100% control of our vineyards, but we also work very closely with a lot of our other growers, because 105 acres is about half of our production,
Mm-hmm.
and the other half has to come all within about 12 miles of where we're located. My nephew, Mitch, who is Lance's son, has also worked in the vineyards. So fourth generation now has worked in the vineyards over the last 4 summers.
Fantastic story, and I love these wines. They're all
Oh,
varietally correct.
Oh, great.
Great wines at great price wines.
Thank
So
you.
Just want to let everybody know that all the wines are available at Vintage, and we're actually doing a tasting tonight. So sorry you missed that, but the wines are wonderful. And thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure, and cheers and best of success to you.
Thank you.
All right.